What's up, Internet? Welcome back once more to the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Blade Showcase, and today we're finally going to look at Patroka, the third and final Blade Eater released in the New Game Plus updates. And in my mind, Patroka deserves to be considered one of the very best damage dealers in the game. This is because all of her passives, all of her abilities really do come together to make her into an offensive beast. She does very well in all situations where you need to have a lot of damage, and we're going to see that right now by looking at her affinity chart. The first passive I want to point out is Fatal Blow. This alone could just be her main selling point. This used to be an effect exclusive to Adenine, a healer blade. But thankfully, this time around, we finally get to see it on an attacker, and she makes good use of it. Unfortunately, the nature of manipulating the elemental weaknesses of your enemies can be a bit random, so it's really hard to sort of control how well Fatal Blow works for you in any given battle. However, there are bosses, such as Artifice Ophion and Artifice Ion, who have weaknesses to light and darkness guaranteed. As well, there is also Gladiator Orion, who has a very common tendency to be an earth element weakness, which just so happens to be Patroka's element, so it's quite useful in that regard. For the most part, though, you will be able to get some great amounts of damage, like very close to cap damage, depending on your setups, if you can manipulate it, or if you're lucky enough for the enemies to have that same amount of weaknesses. Now, the next one is Fury. I was very surprised when I saw this one. When I first saw this, I was a bit disappointed because it borrows the anger mechanic that you may have seen before in previous specials. This increases the damage by 150% when your HP is 30% or less, and initially I didn't like that because the way that healing works in the game, it's almost impossible to stay within that threshold without dying or without getting fully healed. But because this is now a passive and it applies to all forms of Patroka's damage, this is actually insanely useful. You're going to make fights finish a lot quicker with your chain attacks because you're going to be getting this additional 150% damage when you're doing your chain attacks. It's very, very potent. And finally, there is Sanguine Steel. This is a little bit more difficult to proc in comparison to Fury, mainly due to the fact that you need to have smaller enemies to kill nearby during the encounter. I wish they said kill or defeat instead of incapacitated, because that is a little bit confusing. But basically, once you kill 3 enemies, you will get the max amount of bonus, and it's a very good bonus. If any situation where you can get this immediately. This is very easy to do due to the fact that Patroka's single target damage is insanely strong. Now, when it comes to her special, Swallow's Flight, her level 1 special, is definitely going to be her best one. This is because this is the exact same effect that you may have also recognized from Cosmos and Herald. Very, very good, because this also goes hand in hand with her exclusive weapon, which also increases critical damage. And not to mention that she already has a 40% built-in critical rate, you're going to be seeing really high amounts of damage, and even cap damage during a chain attack, which is what we're going to be often in this video. Second is Great Garland. Not nearly as useful, I'm afraid, but if you are able to proc the additional effect against toppled enemies, you will do a good amount. Unfortunately, this only hits once, but if you're able to get that, then yeah, that's more power to you. Same thing can be said for Dragonfly Slash. Only hits once, but it can be quite useful, because if you're playing with 0 orb chain attacks setups, then you're likely already playing within the threshold to get the bonus damage, and it does stack with Fury as well. So basically, when you do find yourself in a situation, you will be able to finish off enemies, and the Fury effect also goes into the level 4 special. The level 4 special hits many, many times in comparison to all the other special Patroka has, and you will be seeing 5-digit numbers repeatedly throughout a lengthy animation. It's very powerful. So, in terms of the actual driver herself, I've decided to put Patroka on Morag due to the fact that she has a built-in burst symbol in her upgraded affinity charts. Not to mention that Morag also has a very decent strength stat, and you also have an added option of having an evasion ability that cuts your health by 10%. This can be quite useful if you're still trying to reach the threshold, so it's something you may want to play around with, but we're not doing that for this particular video. Now, one other thing about Patroka I want to mention is her aux cores. The aux cores, this should be familiar to you guys if you've been familiar with my other videos. This is the exact same setup that you can use for Herald and Cosmos to do insane amounts of damage during chain attacks, and just damage overall. So, Affinity Max Attack and Outdoor Attack for flat damage, and Special Level 1 for when we're doing chain attack spam. Not to mention that the accessories we're using also go hand in hand: optical headband, critical symbol, and burst symbol. Also, burst symbols will be on the other drivers too. And I think that pretty much about does it. So, instead of cutting the video, we are going to go straight into the insanity. You can see that there are 7 Ignas in attendance before Ice Cube Man. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually get the aggro of Tyrantine Cruradil. And while we have him anchored here, I'm actually just going to kind of saunter off to the side and run over to these Ignas. Once I kill these 3 Ignas, I will get the full 300% bonus from Sanguine Steel. So here we go. If we can get critical hit damage on these enemies, then we will be seeing some pretty quick kills. But unfortunately that didn't happen, so we're just going to have to make do with our auto attacks. So here we go. And, yeah, and then this level 1 special should be enough to kill. So yeah, if you're able to land a critical hit on any of the smaller enemies, it should be insta-kill for most people, because we are at S rank, and S rank is very, very useful to have. Let's see if we can run in front of this for a bit. Oh, I think, well, we're close, unfortunately. We are just a little bit shy of the thresholds. But do you know what, though? I don't think we need to worry too much about the thresholds right now. I am currently just going to concern myself with building myself to a level 3 special, so that when we leave the chain attack, and if he survives the chain attack, I will actually be able to get a level 4 in there. Okay, so yeah, Tora, he's going to be okay. He can live. He's crit heal, so I don't have to worry too much about healers right now. And there's a Bone Crusher. Okay. Really, really funny positioning here. Okay, so that is the level 4 special. I'm going to wait for the critical up if I can, but if not, we're going to reach the threshold really, really soon with this auto counting. Okay, there we go. 730, well below. Again, just calculate your max HP and then multiply it by 0.3, and that should show you the amount of HP you get. And look at that damage. Cap damage 3 times, just like Cosmos. Really, really cool stuff. The only difference between this and Cosmos is that you also have the added utility of the Fatal Blow. With Fatal Blow, you will actually give extra damage to your teammates, so if this guy was weak to electricity, then you'll probably be seeing 500k lines per hit. It's really, really nice. And we might as well just have the Photon going on too. Okay, we got a Titan's Awakening. I'm a little bit afraid of spike damage right now, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait for him to start activating. Actually, no, we're okay. We got him killed. Thank you, Poppy. And do you know what? Instead of just, let's just do this fight a couple of times. This time, we're not going to go for Sanguine Steel procs. Instead, we're just going to go straight for the Threshold. It's going to be a little bit less damage, but as long as we can land some crits, then we're going to be just fine. The main idea for this one is that we want to be in range of the Twin Barrel Autocannon so that we can get ourselves into the Threshold. Again, my thresholds for this one is 2200 and something. Like, we have to be like at less than 2200, I know that much. So let's see how this goes. Twin Barrel Autocannon, I'm just gonna kind of just, yeah, as soon as this lands a couple of times, I'm gonna quickly run. Here we go. Okay, there we go. We are good to go. So all I have to do now is just wait. So we have full affinity for all the blades. And hopefully I can see a critical up coming in. Maybe that'll make things easier for us. Come on, Patroka, you know you want to. Critical up, off we go, and not to mention Poppy QT Pie will also get the critical up. So this is going to be a little bit less damage than Cap at this point, but not by that much though. So yeah, again, really, really nice stuff there. And we're also going to see some nice numbers from Poppy, who has the critical up. And finally, Herald is just going to get us well past, hopefully, the name on the title screen. If not, though, we still have plenty of damage to work with because we are also going to be making use of the level 4 special. The level 4 special is very nice because you're actually able to activate other specials while you're doing this one, so I cannot wait to show you this. So here we go. We have the light. And Lightning Bolt can be a thing that happens next, so while this Ultra Annihilation Flare is going off, we're going to activate the Lightning Bolt, so Herald and Patroka will both rush this guy at the exact same time. So here we go. The damage from the Blade combo will also do a substantial amount. And dead. Very nice stuff. Really, really, really cinematic finish, isn't it? We didn't even have to worry about the Sanguine Steel procs. And we've already gone and killed Tyrantine Cruradil and explained this character in the span of less than 10 minutes. How about it? So, you know what? Let's just go and do this one more time. I will try to sort of just get all the damage, like, basically primarily from the Twin Barrel Autocannon if I can. Thankfully, Poppy QT is fairly good at getting aggro, so hopefully he doesn't stick to Zeke for too long. Or me, for that matter. Actually, if you can get the Twin Barrel Autocannons out right now, I think that would be very helpful. Okay, so, okay, get back into the range. Like, it's a little bit tricky to tell. Let's see if we can find it. Here we go, you get a little bit close. And run! Okay, perfect. And we are good to go. So now, all it's just a matter of getting me to get that golden line. So just take a quick look. Everyone else is at max affinity except us. Come on, Patroka, get your act together. And here we go. I really, really enjoy how they've designed this Patroka. And also, we got into critical up, so this is going to be some pretty good stuff. Let's cross our fingers for some cat damage, shall we? Oh, almost there. We were close. I think there would have to be like some additional stuff that we'd have to do in order to fully reach cap, but as far as being S+ goes, this is going to be the most damage she can get, so it's really, really nice stuff. And again, if Tyrantine Crudil ends up becoming weak to either light or electricity, again, we're going to be seeing cat damage from Poppy QT as well. Okay, so while he's going ahead and going Hulkamania on us, we'll have the Photon go off. Okay, so I'm kind of afraid of spike damage right now. So, while Ultra Annihilation Flare is happening, gonna go ahead and activate Lightning Bolt during this animation. Look how dynamic this attack is. So cool. And just a really, really fun matter of mashing B. I hope you guys don't hear it too much on the microphone, but we'll see. And finish. Dynamic finish. I love that. We've gone and killed Tyrantine Crudil 3 times fairly quickly, and honestly, that's why I like Patroka so much. She can fit on any team. Like, if we had, say, Artifice Ophion, then we will be seeing multiple 6-digit numbers coming from the Poppy QT. And if I was just to go ahead and not even use Patroka myself, and instead have the AI handle her, then I would have Poppy QT. Oh, sorry, play Poppy QT Pi and still do really nice amounts of damage. So she can fit on any team and benefit them very directly. Most fights won't actually last that long if you're using her on your team. And really, I think that's the mark of any good offensive blade. You put her anywhere and she'll perform admirably. So the way that I see it, I actually see her as like kind of like the same thing as Cosmos, but with the added utility of Fatal Blow. And it's just really, really cool to be able to get used to that. Not to mention, it would be a lot more fun to kind of give more incentive to exploiting elemental weaknesses. So that's another thing that Patroka does for us. But guys, thanks very, very much for joining me. I am going to be working on Perdito's showcase very soon, and hope you guys look forward to us seeing Patroka's blade. So in the meantime, take care, and I'm glad that you stuck around. And as usual, see you later.